again, talking about the characteristics of the opposition and in principle what they oppose and what they preach is different. Why I'm saying is that if you're talking about states that are excessively socialistic, right, like West Bengal or Kerala, of course, the opposition to industry and privatization is much more in some of these states than compared to, say, the rest of India, like
Correct.
states of Karnataka, Maharashtra, or Gujarat, even, right? But there are a few other parties, like the Indian National Congress, for example, who have depended on the nationalization of assets in the past. The Mumbai Pune Expressway is one of the biggest example, and Pune's
Exactly.
success story sort of lifted off from there. So now, in that sense, is this the first time that something like this is happening? And what is the reason behind the government's move?
The reason behind the government's move is very clear. See, we need to, if we have to move towards being a $5 trillion economy, right? These are all steps that we have to climb. And nobody said that everything is going to be successful or a certain, you can't attach a percentage of success to something, right? You have to give time for it to be implemented. And you basically need to understand whether their intent is right behind all this. Is the intent behind this right? Yes. And I can guarantee to you that the maximum amount, the highest percentage of this population is going to agree to that as well. Right? Say, for example, why is this being done? Like how Rahul Gandhi claimed, is this being done to feed Mukesh Ambani, Adani? Although he didn't name them, it is clear that that is whom he meant. But is it being done for that? No. This is open for all. This is in fact being done to bring in more foreign capital, which
Right.
is absolutely necessary. Like I told you, the whole scale, just look at it, 1/6 of the entire GDP. Is it ambitious? 100% it is ambitious. Do you need a leader that is going to be as ambitious as that? Yes, you need a leader like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want another leader who's not going to make a move, who is going to sit back and watch whatever we have been, which is anyway the kind of uh, life we've lived in the country before this, right? So I feel that the general population is also going to absolutely welcome this. But of course, the problem here again is the fact that the opposition is going to try to derail people. That is the problem. Derail them only purely for political motives. That is where I find this huge flaw. Do it with the right intent. If you want to call out something that's being done, do it with the right intent. But that's not being done.
Right. Absolutely.
So let's take, for example, I think there's one thing that I would like to point out based on what Rahul Gandhi said in his press conference, right? Where he asks the press, where do you think these assets came from? If they claim Congress hasn't done anything for 70 years, where do you think it came from and all of that? The whole point is that whatever they've done was so inefficient that now the current government is finding ways to utilize it. That's the thing that he needs to take away from this.
Right.
Take, for example, the stadium that is named after his grandfather, that is now being used for better purposes. In my opinion, which is Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in Delhi, is one of those assets that they intend to, uh, bring into this pipeline. And today we have seen this. We've just gotten over the Olympic, uh, you know, uh,
Yes.
energy, right? And we all, the whole country came together. One gold made the difference. Where do you think that came from? You need a government, you need leadership that's going to push these things forward. You need somebody coming in and saying, you know what, through the triple P model, I'm going to allow privatization in a way that it is going to help more sports people, in a way that it is actually going to improve the facilities that is being given. Can the government not do it? Not necessarily, right? That's not how it is done. Has the government been able to do the best out of all their assets that lie today? No. These brownfield assets, that is why these are brownfield assets, not greenfield assets. Again, because I didn't mention what they mean, greenfield assets are basically new projects, new assets being created. Brownfield projects are basically underutilized. Take, for example, a classic example would be, say, an old palace. right? Somewhere that is lying underutilized. You go pick an ITC or an Oberoi, you call one of these guys and ask them to spruce it up a little bit and convert it into a hotel. Now, does it one make the property better? Because and does it figure ways out to make more money? Yes. And beyond that, all these brownfield assets also have a cost of maintenance, which the government is bearing today.
Yes.
Also knocking off those liabilities, you're putting it on somebody else's shoulder to weigh that in, right? Plus, when this is being done, there was another conversation around how this is probably also not in the best interest when it comes to employment. I don't think that is at all.
Mhm.
Because when private players come in, they start paying private company salaries. We all know what happens with government salaries, right? And how much the government can pay. So I don't think that is the case. And with some of these assets, especially with how the central government intends to uh, is also incentivizing state governments to
Absolutely.
out their PSUs.
I mean, an example from Bangalore is itself the National Games Village, I think, in
Yeah,
Kormanga, huge piece of
exactly.
real estate, which
Yeah,
is lying waste today. And I
yeah.
think the government did have a plan, but not sure about the progress that it actually made on that front.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.